Hey everybody. I decided to do a new video segment, kind of a project or whatever. What I'm going to do is go around, and this is going to be like maybe a weekly thing, probably on weekends because the only time I'll have to do it, and maybe not once a week because I won't have that many to do. But basically, video confessions, video journal, whatever you want to call it, where I just go on camera somewhere and just talk about whatever I'm dealing with that I really don't want to go to my friends about because either I don't trust them or I don't really feel like going to them. So it isn't big confessions and big secrets, but it's more of a kind of a somewhat anonymous because most people watching it won't actually know me, even though they'll be able to see me and everything. Anyway, I'm sure you guys get what I mean. I'm about to go to the park and shoot my first segment, so until then, well, that'll be part of this same video in the first segment, so it should be fun. So I finally actually found a place to do this. The other parks I went to were full of people, which is, not hard to believe because it's a nice day. But my first segment is going to be on, well, I'm just going to go into it, so I'm trying to describe the category. When I went out to eat today, I actually found that I was around, and a lot of the people in the restaurant were elderly couples. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. I think elderly people are really awesome. They also have a lot of stories. They've lived a lot longer than I have, and all that. I'm not trying to down them, but what I'm saying is, it makes me think. I've never really had that much luck in life with that shit, so I don't know. Never really had too many relationships, and they've always ended fairly quickly, and I know that's not my fault. And you can say, well, you probably did something. Maybe I wasn't perfect, but I know it wasn't my fault for the most part. But where the hell am I going on about that? That's not what I'm here for. Am I going to end up old and alone? I know I'm way too young to be thinking that. I mean, I'm only 28. And while in some ways, and I always joke around, I'm old, I'm getting too old for this and that, And some of it's true in some ways. I am in certain aspects. But I am in no way old. I mean, I'm not young or anything, but you know what I mean. And, I don't know, I see these people, and I've always been this lone wolf, and I've always been the person that, goes off on his own and does things on his own, and, I never really relied on people. I've never really opened up to meet people, except for here and there. And the older I get, it seems the worse it gets. Like, people that I used to be able to trust, I don't anymore, basically. And I don't talk to them as near as much as I used to. And I'm sorry the camera is shaky, I'm walking while talking, but... And it seems, like I said, the older I get, the less and less real friends I have, and... I haven't been in a close friendship in a while, and I find it really hard to trust people, so there's all that really prevents pretty much any kind of, it's hard for me to get into somebody and really come out and trust them, which is a big key aspect of a relationship. But when I'm in one, I don't let that show. I'm pretty open, I'm always open to talk about stuff, let them talk about stuff. And why am I going off into how I am in relationships? This is not what this is about. I don't know why I'm going off into that. But it's a fairly bad disposition to be 28 and wondering, in the end, am I going to be really old, alone, and depressed because I never found that one person that right for me. And it's like Bobby Darin said, and of course this is what I was listening to in the intro of this video, is I want a girl to call my own. I want a dreamer, lover, so I don't have to dream alone. And that's honestly how I feel. And it's, that's what I want. I want to be years and years and years from now, to be that old couple that, you know, they're still so much in love. They still love each other. You know, beauty fades and everything, that all that fades, but they're still so much in love with each other. And I don't know. It's just, like I said, I've always been a lone wolf, and in a lot of ways I'm really good at that, but I'll admit that I want that something. I want that special something, and I don't know, the older I get, even though I'm still young, it seems more and more likely that I'm not going to be with someone in the end. And again, I'm way too young to be thinking that, but, and I know, like, you know, the media and all that shit tells us, you know, oh, you're supposed to fall in love really young in high school, and, you know, marry your high school sweetheart, and all that bullshit. And I'm very aware that happens sometimes, and sometimes it works out. But most of the time, couples that get married that young end up in a really bad divorce, or, you know, just a regular divorce, but often really bad. And I've seen that happen to people I know directly and indirectly from people I know and their friends that happen to them. But I don't know, I definitely had a lot more to say, and I'm trying to think of my old topics, but like I said, it was forever for me to be able to get this because there are so many people in the park, and I don't want anybody else in my video. It's not about them, you know. They have nothing to do with it. I'm sure they don't want to be in it, and it's just me. So, I don't know. What kind of disposition is that to feel that way at 28 years old? I guess it's because you look around, you see all these couples, and they look happy, they act happy. But at the same time, that can be just an act. They can be miserable as shit and putting on an act. Basically, this is like what I said, and I'm kind of getting off topic, is, am I going to wind up old and alone? Am I going to be, you know, some old, bitter-ass man? Because I'm already cynical and negative as hell in some ways. I'm still very light and happy and everything, but I'm more of a realist in a lot of ways, and that's where some of that cynicism comes from. And I see it more as this realism than cynicism. And it's just, I don't know. I don't want that to happen, and I'll do everything in my power to stop that from happening. One thing I'm going to do is, and this is another thing that relates to that, and, you know, everything else, is I'm going to jump into my writing more, and if I have to, basically get married to my writing for a while until I find, you know, whatever. Find that special someone or all that bullshit. But one thing I've noticed is that a lot of my story ideas that I had in my head end really fucking tragically. And it's just that, you know, not everything always has a happy ending, and I'm sure some of my stories will. You know, I had to throw a few good endings in there. But most of mine end tragically, either as, you know, this is what really could happen, you know, this isn't sugar-coated, this is what would probably happen in a situation like this, and a lot of them deal with, like, you know, hate, jealousy, revenge, and all that, and how that can drive somebody, and the realism to the point of which somebody can be driven. And that adds to everything, and I don't know. It's something I've been thinking about since I was really young, like teenager young, because I actually didn't have my first date till I was 18 and a half. And, of course, all my friends did, all my schoolmates did, and all that shit. But, I don't know, that's the one thing I'm afraid of. My biggest fear is ending up alone because, and this is another topic for another day, even though a lot of my friends aren't that loyal or good, I have that select few who are awesome, and if you guys are watching this, you know who you are. But, I don't know. I was actually hoping this would be longer, but I think I'm going to go home and just get in something and get my mind off of this after I upload the video. And there are actually 2 videos I need to shoot this week, other separate from this, because I'm going to have so many segments. Now, I'm going to do a lot of things like this and my other reviews, but I'm going to review, obviously, the newest episode of Bates Motel. But I recently saw the original ending to the cartoon show, Ed, Edd and Eddy, which is one of my favorite cartoons. Kind of, somewhat favorite cartoons ever, but definitely from that era. It's not really 90s cartoons like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Doug, you know, and stuff like that. I mean, you can make some match. Turtles are more 80s, but, you know, that era of growing up is different than when Ed and Eddy came on. But I saw the original ending to it, and it is one of the darkest endings to anything. And, well, no, it's not the darkest ending to anything. It's, and I'll get into more detail when I get in there, but it's a really dark ending for that series. The series is really light, and it just ends on such a dark and depressing note. And, you know, they decided to go on and make a movie and make more seasons, but I'm going to go into that, and, you know, with the realization this was originally supposed to be the ending. But, well, that's the first whole video confession segment thing. Peace out.